Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. That's right. The daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, which is a lot at the moment, mate. Giving you my opinion, for whatever that's worth. More importantly, asking for yours, So, today we're discussing what Gazzetta dello Sport is saying about Romelu Lukaku and who Chelsea apparently want in return from Inter. A little bit on what Matt Law has said regarding the control Thomas Tuchel is going to gain over transfers and the rebuild under new ownership, Todd Boehly and Clearlake, which is actually quite positive, TBH. And 10 Sport are quoting, I think the Italian sources, it's a French publication talking about how Ousmane Dembele has chosen Chelsea. I've translated the article. Oui, je parle un peu de français, mais it's too difficult for me to read. So I've translated it into English and we'll read that as well. So then, get comfortable. Please do consider subscribing. That's nice. Liking the video is a big help too. Click, 1 second, all this takes. Doesn't even take a second, so I thank you for liking and subscribing. Let's start off with Gazzetta dello Sport. Of course, big Italian newspaper. They are saying Chelsea want one of Lautaro Martinez, Milan Skriniar, or Bastoni involved in the Lukaku deal. Now, maybe this could be realistic. Of course, Chelsea will need a striker if Lukaku goes, and by all accounts, all reports suggest Chelsea will look to get a striker should he go out the door. Lautaro Martinez is a striker. There would be some comedy to it because he's one of the reasons why probably Lukaku would want to go back to his home in Milan. I'll take his gum out of my mouth. Sorry, I realise it's probably gross me chewing gum talking to you. Yeah, because he loves Lautaro, and Lautaro was one of the reasons why he had such a successful stint at Inter, scoring loads of goals, making loads of assists for Lautaro. So it'll be funny if he goes the other way and ends up coming to Chelsea. Would Lautaro want that, especially with Rom coming back, you know, fighting for the Scudetto again? I'm not so sure, but money talks. But then again, do we as Chelsea fans want the club giving out loads of cash again to a striker who's, you know, unproven in terms of them working in the team? Centre-backs, though, Bastoni and Skriniar. Skriniar is like 27 years old. He is pretty darn elite. I'd be much more interested in that, because then we'll have like a Koundé. If we buy Milan Skriniar and Jules Koundé, we will be okay. We'll be alright, especially with Trev Chalobah, Levi Colwill, Thiago Silva. We're going to be okay, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, whatever. Reece James potentially being rotated at right centre-back. That's a story that needs to be followed. Obviously, this is coming from Italian publications, Italian reports. We will follow the Lukaku story, of course, but there is speculation and reports and suggestion that Chelsea are looking to get some Inter players the other way. Bearing in mind, Inter have good players. They won the Scudetto the season before last. They were in a title race last season. They are good players. Chelsea, if look, you want your talisman back, give us someone decent. We don't want to be completely, you know, on our asses here. So, but we are going to talk about this French article and read that and talk about Ousmane. I do want to cite Matt Law's article he wrote on The Telegraph yesterday. And obviously, a lot of you might have seen this. It's a lot of circulation of how Thomas Tuchel is going to take a great deal of control when it comes to transfers, which would be the first time, certainly in a long time at Chelsea, but who knows, maybe the most a manager has ever had in terms of control of buying and choosing players. Now, it's imperative we keep Tuchel. He's such a great figure in many ways at the club, and Todd Boehly and the new ownership group made sure that this is their priority, keeping Tuchel happy. Has Tuchel always... people have questioned his talent ID for a while now. Now, I'm not saying he can't see a good player and he'll never buy a good player, but maybe giving him the reins entirely so early is a bit of a risk. But let's read his article, see what's happening, or some of the article. Thomas Tuchel has been promised that he can take the lead on Chelsea's transfer business by the club's new owners in a shift designed to move closer to Man City and Liverpool models. how they work. And this could be good news for Romelu Lukaku if he hopes for joining Inter or rejoining Inter. Tuchel informed Todd Boehly that he believes the club record signing should be allowed to leave. Just as Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp drive decisions over incomings and outgoings at Liverpool and City, the Boehly-led group, now in charge of Chelsea, have told Tuchel that it's his voice that will be the loudest on transfers and first-team football decisions. Now, this truly is a new dawn in comparison to the Roman Abramovich era at Chelsea, where he made all the decisions, hired and fired, and largely it worked, but a lot of money was wasted. Managers came and went. You didn't really gain too much of an emotional connection to any of them. And I guess this is what Boehly and crew are trying to change, or suggesting that they want to change. Tuchel is viewed as one of the club's biggest assets by the new owners, who believe the best way to try and make ground on the Premier League champions City and Liverpool is to give the German similar power to that enjoyed by Guardiola and Klopp. In a meeting with Tuchel, it is understood that Boehly made it clear that the new owners will do everything in their power to try and deliver his targets and move on players he does not want. This is the kind of meeting you want as a football manager. We're going to do anything and everything you want. Any targets, we'll try and get them. Anyone you want out the door, no matter how difficult, we'll try and do it. That is not something owners say. Owners say, I don't know, maybe we can't get rid of them because, it's financially not viable. We don't want to lose this asset. We don't want to, we could maybe get them, but we want to save money. This is the opposite to that. This is Boehly, Clearlake, everyone involved saying, we'll give you whatever you want, mate. As previously reported by The Telegraph, Chelsea's new owners are prepared to give Tuchel around £200 million to spend this summer, although more could be made available by significant player sales. That's interesting. So Matt Law is suggesting here that it's a 200 base transfer kitty, and that could be increased by significant player sales, which of course it was speculated that it would go up to 200 originally with player sales. So that's, more money. And we all love money. The article goes on to talk about Granovskaya, Petr Cech potentially staying on for a little bit. Stuff we talked about before. So ultimately, good news, I guess, in terms of backing a manager, profoundly backing a manager to the point where, should we be backing him this much? Chelsea will not get a better coach than Thomas Tuchel. Let's have it right. Make no bones about it. Chelsea are keeping Tuchel as a priority, absolutely. But do you not bring in some specialists to help him identify and work alongside him? But you really give him the keys to the safe and be like, do what you want, mate. I'm not saying he hasn't earned it. I'm just saying, is that the correct, appropriate thing to do? Either way, I feel like, why not be positive about this? It's generally a positive piece of news. So let's be positive. And let's also move on to 10 Sport, which is 10 Sport, and read a Google translated article to see what mumbo jumbo it's come up with and if it makes any sense grammatically, etc. But as we're talking about, Ousmane Dembele has chosen his future club. Let's see what it says. At the end of the contract with FC Barcelona, Ousmane Dembele could be the one of the nice shots of Paris Saint-Germain, already a bit peculiar, during this summer transfer window. Essentially saying, PSG are in for him. But the future of the French winger could be well written in England, or his former coach, Thomas Tuchel, would like to have him under his orders at Chelsea. I love these translated articles. They're so peculiar and profound. And he seems very close to reaching that goal. In Catalonia, we went through all the feelings of Ousmane Dembele, criticised in the past 5 years, pushed out by Barcelona, who wanted to get rid of him at all costs. Then put on a pedestal by Xavi and asked to extend his contract. Yes, the Frenchman has known everything. I guess he's been for everything. It is now a departure at the end of the contract, and it seems to be waiting for him. He's leaving, basically, since it's unlikely he will sign an extension. Several clubs are making eyes at him, and this particularly is the case of Paris Saint-Germain, who have already tried to recruit Dembele when he exploded at the Stade Rennais. Was that before Dortmund then? It must be. So, yeah. And then it says this. Dembele wants to go to Chelsea. with Tuchel. It will, however, be necessary to wait before seeing him return to France, according to information from TMW. So they're citing this themselves. Ousmane Dembele should not continue his career at PSG next season, despite a very good offer received in recent months. It would make no one surprised to learn that Paris Saint-Germain had offered Ousmane Dembele free transfer. Ousmane Dembele, 25-year-old, super talented Ousmane Dembele, a massive, lucrative financial offer, potentially one that Chelsea wouldn't even be able to match. So the Italian portal, which is the source they're referencing, ensures that the 25-year-old winger would have decided to leave Barcelona to find Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea. The two men know each other well, since the former PSG coach has already trained him at Borussia Dortmund. So this is just further fomenting the narrative. Further additional news that Ousmane Dembele would like to be reunited with former coach Thomas Tuchel. And yes, I'm here for it. Of course, I spoke yesterday, not necessarily at length, but we've been speaking about like Raheem Sterling reportedly being a Chelsea target. And I'll reiterate a point that I want Dembele because it's the more exciting, sexier signing. You know, they're both in their prime, Dembele and Sterling. You know, 25 Dembele, 27 Sterling. You know, Dembele's more exciting because we've not seen him and he's a bit more of a wild card and he's worked with Tuchel. But there is something about Sterling, like people just wrote him off, but Sterling has been operating at such an elite level. Like, okay, Dembele's been in and out of the Barca team, loads of injury issues, not necessarily functioning well with the team in form, and he's had previous disciplinary issues. What's Raheem Sterling doing? What has Raheem Sterling been doing? He's been winning 4 out of 5 of the last Premier League titles, getting to Champions League finals, consistently scoring goals and consistently staying fit and having a great deal of professionalism, being coached by Pep Guardiola in a high-octane system that likes to play the football in the opposition half, like Chelsea. So, sensible. You put your sensible hat on, who's going to be like a really intelligent addition to Chelsea's team, you'd go, well, obviously Raheem Sterling. It just seems like there's no risk there in comparison, and he does, like, you know, the high turnovers like Thomas Tuchel wants. But at the same time, I, like many of you, have that inner child who plays FIFA all the time and goes, yeah, but sign Ousmane Dembele because that's more exciting and it's exotic and we don't see it all the time and it's different. You know, that's where your gut takes you, isn't it? You go, this is how football works. You go, no. I want the sensible, boring, functional signing. I want the one I don't know about. You know? I want the one like, it's a gamble. There's a risk. We don't want the safe one. We want the risk. And obviously that's what Ousmane Dembele is. And of course, Sterling might cost £50 million. And of course, you know, Ousmane Dembele would be, inverted commas, free, although there would be a signing on bonus, an agent bonus, you know, it might even still cost Chelsea 30, 40 million pounds or whatever. You know what I mean? So you never really get him for free, and there'll be very high wages. But despite all that, if we're going back to Matt Law's article, jumping back on the context of backing the manager, he might look at Sterling and think, yeah, great, that's exactly what I want in the Premier League to do that, a Premier League player to do that. But if he truly does want to be reunited with Ousmane Dembele, a player that he's waxed lyrical about before publicly, then I'm all for it. It's exciting, and like I said, it's more of a sexy signing, and, you know, it's an unknown quantity in the Premier League, a talented player, he could do really well, he might not do anything. That's the Chelsea way. You get excited about an exotic player who's just done so many goal involvements in Europe, like a Hakim Ziyech, looks like an absolute, they call him the Wizard of Amsterdam, just, you know, over and over and over, winning player of the season for Ajax over some great young players, by the way, in that Ajax generation. It was always Hakim Ziyech. We were like, yeah, he's going to ball out. He's like a tricky winger. And then, yeah, I mean, Hakim Ziyech has balled out before, by the way, but you know what I mean? You just never know. Let me know what you think, guys. Comment down below. I'm keeping an eye on all the news. As soon as something breaks, we will react to it here. So make sure you do turn the bell noti icon on when you subscribe. And thank you for dropping a like on the video. It means a lot, friend. I look forward to seeing you very soon on the next video. So, peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, bitch.